Today's podcast is brought to you by Audible.com. Get a free audiobook download and 30-day free trial at www.audibletrial.com/goblin. Over 180,000 titles to choose from for your iPhone, Android, Kindle, or MP3 player. Actually, I joke a lot about it, but I don't really drink that much, and you know, when I do drink, I turn into a whole other person, and that guy drinks a lot. Let me just say.
You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast with Dex and Mac. I got mouths to feed, so let's get this thing started. Time is money, friend.
Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, Azeroth. You're listening to the Goblin Goldcast, your guide to making gold in World of Warcraft. This is episode 19. I'm your host, Dex, coming to you from Napa, California. With me on Skype is the man who learned the hard way you never take sleeping pills and laxative in the same night, my co-host, Mac, from Anchorage, Alaska. How you doing, Mac?
Sorry. What a... yeah.
Didn't see that one coming, did you? For those of you that don't know, Mac does not see these jokes ahead of time.
Oh my God!
You gonna recover from that? It's like you need to change some clothes or anything like that. You're good.
I'm old. I wear Depends. Right?
It's like I thought you were gonna say no laxative needed or something like that. It was gonna worry me.
Oh, all right.
Well, this week's show we're gonna be doing a little early because I'm going to be going on vacation for several days, starting Tuesday the 15th.
Damn holidays.
I'm sorry?
It's damn holidays.
Yeah. I'm not going to be back until about Friday the 25th, and that means also that next week's show is going to be a bit late. I'm going to be in the Chicagoland area, and I'm also going to be in Minneapolis, so if anyone out there knows a good place to eat in either city, please give me a yell at dex@goblingoldcast.com and let me know where to stop in and check out. And I already know a pretty good pizza place in Chicago that I always like to go to. But other than that, no idea. So appreciate any suggestions anybody has.
Nice theme restaurant there. You've got Ed DeBevick's in Chicago. That's kind of cool.
Yeah. I have to get my my Chicago style pizza when I go out there, and I do Giordano's out there over by not far from the train station. So love that restaurant. But anyway, so we're kind of a little bit on the rushed side for today's show, and we apologize for that. This week we really had to kind of cobble this show together early, and normally you have more time to develop it. And but we didn't want to leave such a large gap with no show. So because we feel so bad about that, Mac and I have talked about it, and we've decided, and we're just going to offer this one at half price. It's just you guys shouldn't have to pay full price for a show that we put together this quickly. So,
there we go.
So anyway, so that's what we'll be doing. In today's show, we're going to be talking about using emissary quests and your class order hall missions to make enough gold to cover a game time token every month if you are interested in doing that. But before we get into all that, let's talk about this past week.
Well, we did get a Facebook post and an email. I'll go into the Facebook post first. From a listener again, when you give us a post, or if we're going to be using this on the show, if you give us a name you'd like us to use. I don't like using personal names on there unless you give us permission, so I'm not going to give a name to this. But he said in his post, my gold making success update. First off the shuffle, he spent 33K on leather to craft BOEs and then disenchant them, and then he sold all the Arcana in stacks of 30 for 1,200 gold each, for a profit of about 40,000 gold. Pretty good.
Awesome.
He said second, my unused level 25 pets, and his first one was the level 1. He says Raven, and I'm assuming he's meaning the Gilnean Raven.
I would assume, yeah.
He says level 1, over 70,000 gold. He says he camps an alt by the vendor to buy after each sale. Now, I'm going to stop here. And for somebody out there wanting to make a lot of gold, be aware. There are two types of Gilnean ravens.
yes, there are. And you've got the SS, which you can no longer get from the vendor, which is very valuable, and the BB that you can still buy. I'm not sure what the price is on that. Did he mention that?
No, he did not.
It's not very much. It's a very small amount of. I don't even think it's a gold. I think it's in silver what you pay for it. But yeah, it's look, let's face it. You've got two kinds of people that are buying the BB type of Gilnean Raven and paying a lot of gold for it in the auction house. Two kinds. You've got the lazy guys that, maybe they've only got horde characters and they don't want to make a worgen to go in and buy the Raven from the vendor, or they don't want to mess with going through and doing all that. So you get the lazy people there. And then you've got the stupid people that don't know the difference between that and the SS. And I'm not trying to make fun by saying stupid. I mean uninformed. They don't have the add-on to tell the pet ID, the breed. And personally myself, I'm an equal opportunity capitalist. I have no problem profiting off of the lazy or the stupid.
Right. Well, we're saying this. I mean, this guy is fantastic. He's making good gold off of a mount that usually sells. The BB usually sells for a lot less, and the SS sells for a lot more. But fantastic. I know you took advantage during the Starlight Rose craze of some. Took advantage of some folks.
I don't have any idea what you're talking about there. It's you mean with the dust? Yeah. Starlight Rose was it was going for like 210 gold per.
Right.
And I found out that for some reason people were willing to pay at that same time about 150 gold per for the dust, and every stack of 200 that I would put up for 150 would seem to go very quickly, and it was really odd. I have no idea why they wanted to pay that much for dust.
But anyway, so he's making he's making a great profit on that. I just didn't want somebody listening to the podcast to go over and grab one of those and expect to sell it for $70K right away.
Right.
Because that may not happen. Anyways, fantastic. Yeah. He's making some good gold there. Yep. He said a level 25 Dark Moon Tonk. He made 45K gold.
Right.
The Vantus rooms. He's invested about 30K in for all the herbs. Sold them for 6 each of the runes for 6,000 gold each times 8. Made about 1,800 profit, which is pretty good.
Yeah.
That Reeves repair module, roughly 50 gold for parts. He had the ore, crafted 3 modules, and sold them for 2,000 gold each. Again, good gold. Every bit counts. He said he also got around to setting up Sniper in the TSM, and I still haven't set up Sniper.
Maybe he'll teach you how, because I give up. I'm kidding. Sniper is definitely not for everyone.
Is that most of the time nothing pops up or people scamming by exploiting the market prices. He says, however, I found success in buying pets that are normally 20 to 60K gold and snatch them up for under 1,000 gold. Mm-hmm. He said his dream is for someone to actually forget a zero on the trading card game mount so he can resell it. Well, fantastic. I'm glad you're making gold. Awesome. We love to hear stories about people making gold like that. And again, our job here is to help you out and make sure that you're able to make gold, and which he has, and also save you some gold if you aren't aware of the difference between some of the battle pets. And
I'd just like to say if he's waiting for that person to leave a zero off the price of a TCG mount or a TCG pet, good luck, because it does happen. But you got to be fast. There are a lot of us out there competing with you, trying to click faster than you. So just good luck. You got to see it. You got to see it as soon as it pops up, and you got to be fast on the draw to click. But.
One other letter from a listener. This is again, he's written us before Game Bro 1989. And again, I want to apologize. Last week I said in 2 days he made 6,700 in 2 days in the auction house. It was 67,000, and I just misread what he was saying. Anyways,
that's a big difference than what we reported, because
about 10 times.
Now that I know that, see, if I'd realized that last show I thought it was the other, when you mentioned it, because I wasn't the one that got the email, but which begs the question: does that make you feel strange when people are writing into our show and talking to you about how much that they've made and sometimes looking for advice or reporting back to you how much they made, and you realize that they make a lot more than you do?
Oh, gosh.
Do you feel ashamed at all?
No, I make enough gold.
I mean, I'm like, I hear stories like that, and I think, awesome, man, good for you, man. And you're thinking, oh my God, how the hell did he do that? So there's a little bit. I'm sorry.
All right.
Continue with your anecdote. Go ahead.
Oh, which is why I've been reading them directly this week. Anyways, it says, hello again. I finally made my first 100K from selling battle pets and trade goods. But with all this gold, what should I do? Do I keep farming mats and BOEs? Or do I invest it back in the auction house? Or buy tokens and bank them for what's to come?
Yeah.
Before I continue on, let's go over that.
Yeah, in my opinion, it really depends on what it depends on what he's looking to achieve. If he's looking to multiply his gold and he's confident with the auction house, flipping it is definitely a good way to go. As far as tokens, though, if he's looking to wanting to make sure that he can pay for his gaming with tokens, and he's concerned about the price going up on tokens, then it pays to have several in advance. I actually know somebody who took advantage and got about 7 months worth of tokens when they were very low.
Right.
And they've creeped back up a bit. And I think that trend is going to continue. And I also think that when they finally do open up that to be used for other things in the Blizzard store, I think you're going to see tokens really go up in price. So if that's the way he's thinking about it, if he's thinking along those lines like I am, and he also wants to be able to make sure that he's getting the best deal he can on the tokens, then yeah, buy up a bunch of them. But you're going to get your max. You're going to hit your maximum on tokens that you can do, and right. And then you'll have gold to move on beyond then. But yeah, I think, like I said, it really depends on where he wants to be with this.
Right. Now, I personally, I try to keep at least half of my gold liquid. Buy it if you invest it all in stuff from the auction house. If a great deal comes up, you miss out of it because you don't have the gold, the ready gold to be able to use for it.
Yeah.
So that's just a personal thing with me. That and I'm cheap. He says, also, what do you guys do when you start feeling the burnout for a while?
I'd like to actually take that real quick because I've recently dealt with a little bit of that, and you and I haven't really spoken about it, but you probably noticed that I was getting a little bit burned out a little bit for a while there, and it was because I had so much other stuff going on. I had family events, weddings, and all kinds of other stuff with my kids going on that was taking a lot of time, and it pulled me away for a little while, and I got out of my routine. And when you get out of your routine, sometimes it's hard to get back into it for the gold making. And I'm not all the way back yet as far as that goes. So I can see how that can be. Biggest thing I can say to not get burned out is make sure that you are spending enough time in game doing things that you enjoy. Sometimes the thing that makes you the most gold is not the thing that you enjoy doing the most, not by a long shot sometimes. So you need to balance that out. And,
if the game starts feeling like it's a job, it's time to take a break, do something else. That's one of the reasons why I've never been a big raider. Well, first of all, some of the big raiding guilds, you have to be here at this raid at this time, blah blah blah, and usually in my time zone, first of all, I can't be there.
Right.
Second of all, I've got a full-time job. I don't want the game to become a job. This is what I do to relax. So.
Yeah. Well, it's easy to do that. It's if you're trying to maximize the amount of gold that you can make, and let's not forget Warlords of Draenor. And I've said many times how many alts I had with full garrisons and everything that I was logging in, and I had to get down to the point to where look, if I had a connection issue, or if I was having lag problems once I got into the game. It made it unplayable for me to do my gold making in Warlords, and the reason why is if I was logging in on an alt and spending a minute and a half, say, or 2 minutes per character, and you multiply that by all the characters I was running through on that, it added up to a nice chunk of time. When you're running 30 characters through and it's a minute and a half each, I mean, that's a chunk. And then I'm doing a lot of other things, of course, besides that. But if you think about it, if you have something that's lagging you out and extending the amount of time you have to spend by 15 seconds per character when you're running a bunch of alts, it can be significant, let alone a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. All of a sudden it becomes, it's not viable. So yeah, I was in a situation to where, it could become a full-time job if you got, if you tried to do too much and try to always maximize, every little thing. So you do have to strike a balance, and for everybody that's going to be different. For some people, they enjoy nothing more than to be making gold all day long, and they don't care if they go into a dungeon or a raid or if they do any quests or collect any mounts, or they don't care about any of that. What they care about at the end of the day is, what does the balance sheet say? We did a show a while back where we talked about being organized, and it occurred to me after I was done with that show that I forgot one of the things on my list to cover, and that was keeping good records as far as how much gold that you've made. I used to keep a daily log of how much gold I made, and it wasn't just total gold. I had that, but I had it by realm and by account, because I run 2 accounts. And so I would know how much time I was spending and how much gold I was getting in exchange for that, which is how I knew when to cut off certain gold making enterprises when they weren't churning out enough gold to be worth the time. Because ultimately, if I didn't spend, at least half of my time doing something fun in game that was non-gold making related, I would completely burn out. So I think that's the good rule of thumb for you, and that's going to be different for everybody.
Right. He says, thanks again for the awesome podcast, and hey, we appreciate you listening. Everybody that writes in and everybody listens, again, thanks a bunch. We wouldn't be here without you.
That goes double for me. Every time I see an email come through or post on the website or somebody leaving a voice message, makes me feel good that there are people out there listening. I've talked to other podcasters that don't get a lot of replies, and they don't get a lot of feedback, and they have to ask themselves, is there anybody out there listening? It's nice to know that, yes, there is somebody out there listening. So,
and we appreciate it. Like I said, fantastic for the guys who are making gold using the information that we've got. Right. This week, I guess I'm changing topic. This week in game, besides the emails, I've been dinking around with my level 110s, doing some world questing. I ran into an issue that some other people ran into, and I had you test it out. You didn't run into it, but the world boss this week, I have done that quest 3 or 4 times on my DK, 2 or 3 times on my Pally, and I've glitched every time. I've gotten drops from the mob when we've killed it. I haven't died when the mobs died, so I wasn't glitched that way. But for some reason, I'm not getting a completion, and it's frustrating. So I'm waiting for the server tick tomorrow when they do all the changeovers and updates, and hopefully the next week's World Quest boss I'll be able to complete on.
Now you completed it, but you didn't get the reward at all, right?
No, I didn't get the reward, and when I look at my map, the quest is still showing.
Right, so it didn't count it. I ran into a different problem this last week, where I went in and I had enough time to do the four world quests I needed to do to complete the emissary quest that I had up, and that's all I really had time for when I logged in. So I popped in and I started knocking out the. You were on at the same time, I think, while I was doing this.
Right.
I was knocking out the missions, and I noticed that I wasn't getting credit towards the emissary quest, and which was a real bummer. So I got frustrated. I ended up logging out. I had the 4 picked that I was going to do, and after doing 3 of them and having only 1 count, towards the emissary quest, a bit frustrating. So I know that there are some glitches that they're working out, and we don't want to lose sight of the fact that it's still kind of early on in the expansion cycle.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it's the sharding that's doing it or what's going on with that, but I you still only got the 110, and I've got 3 of them now, working on a 4th one.
Yeah, you like to keep pointing that out.
Just like I have that Headless Horseman mounted.
I didn't know it was a race to see who could get the most 110s. Now that I know that, well, you'll still be ahead of me next week because I won't be here.
That's right. Oh, well, when it comes to gold making, you're able to make the gold a lot more as I'm busy leveling instead of gold making. So,
well, you're going to outdo me this week in gold making too.
Oh, there we go.
Because I've already played in game for the last time before I leave on my trip. We're going to record this podcast, and I'm going to go to bed. I'm going to get up in the morning and edit the podcast, do the last bit of my packing, and then I'm off. I'm on vacation until I have to take off. So so you get a chance to make a lot of gold without me making any.
Yeah, I'll wait till you're in a really different time zone and then call you about midnight my time, so you're 3, 4 in the morning. Your wife would kill me.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, Dex and I have known each other long enough. When we were younger, in our 20s and 30s, the phone rang 2 or 3 in the morning. I knew exactly who it was, and he did too. And it wasn't a big thing. But now that he's got younger kids around the house, and we've got spouses that don't appreciate that, we don't do that anymore.
Yeah, youth is wasted on the young. What are you gonna do? All you can do is just drink yourself into a stupor and no, I'm kidding.
That's after the show. No,
Actually, I joke a lot about it, but I don't really drink that much, and when I do drink, I turn into a whole other person, and that guy drinks a lot. Let me just say.
I don't drink a lot less, so
yeah,
it's a balance,
We talked about the balance, 1 beer in each hand. Remember?
That's right.
We did that one. So.
It keeps me on an even keel. Yeah.
Well, let's not overstate your case. Okay. Anything else this week that you wanted to talk about before we get into our topic?
No, let's go into making gold making with the emissary and class all missions.
Okay. We can definitely do that. So what I came up with for this topic was, there are a lot of people that talk about, and we've heard from people that have said, I want to make gold, but I really don't want to spend a lot of time, in older expansions and trying to run down. And let's face it, that's where a lot of times that's where the gold is, in an expansion that's been pretty much abandoned. And you've reached the right level of supply versus demand. But
the Gillian Raven.
Yeah, but a lot of ways to, like I said, a lot of ways to make gold with older content. But I was trying to think of a way that something that we could cover that we hadn't covered yet. That would be a way for somebody to not have to do that and still be able to make enough gold to cover their token every month. And I realized one of the things we haven't covered is what you can do is, if you do your emissary quest every day, you get an emissary quest every day. And if you get your emissary quest and you do it the right way, and at the same time, anytime your big gold missions pop up in your in your class hall, and you do those, the combination of those two, for a very small investment of time, you can make enough gold that by the end of the month it will add up to more than enough to buy your token, and that it'll be doing things that you're pretty much going to do anyway. If you're in the current expansion, you're working through this. This is something that you're pretty much focusing on already. And like I said, what this amounts to is you want to watch for, every once in a while you'll get these class hall missions that will be like 760 gold or something like that, and there'll be a bonus. You want to get the bonus because the bonus is going to be just as much gold on a bonus. So you end up getting over 1,500 gold for the two combined for doing that class hall mission. Now, I think we've talked, at least Mac and I have talked, we maybe not on the show, but we've talked about how in the future, when the game becomes more alt-friendly in the new expansion, that having a whole lot of alts to run those gold missions when they come up is going to be very profitable. It's going to be, garrison halls all over again as far as that goes. But that's in the future a little bit. But for right now, the first thing you want to do, you want to make sure that you have an epic level champion that you can assign as your little buddy to go out with you on these world quests.
Right.
So you want one that'll work as your little your bodyguard, basically. I'm drawing a blank on what they call it in game, but when you assign the follower to you, it's like a bodyguard.
Your lackey.
Your lackey, exactly. He's a champion, but he's your lackey. Now, the reason why he needs to be epic is, when you hit epic, you have 2 slots that are open for gear, and there are various different pieces of gear to give you different advantages that you can pop into there. Some of them work for being more successful, say on your class hall missions. And some are more geared towards having this champion that's your bodyguard out on the missions for completion of the missions to give you gold or order hall resources. What I have currently on mine that I use, I have 2 items. One of them is called Potion of Triton. And Potion of Triton is something that gives you an extra 50 gold whenever you complete any world quest. And the other one is the Dust of Azeroth, and that one's even better. That one gives you 50 gold, but it also gives you 25 resources. Now, you might look at this and you say, okay, all right, so you're getting, for completing a world quest, you're getting 100 gold and you're getting 25 resources. That's for every single one of those world quests. And I think I mentioned this already in the show at one point, that if you're doing 10 world quests a day, that's just, the bonus alone is 1,000 gold, just bonus. That's on top of everything else that you've made. And so if you're doing your four missions that you need to do, your 4 quests that you need to do to finish the emissary, and then you get the emissary chest that you open up, and that can provide a real decent amount of gold as well. You got the bonus gold. The missions themselves that you're getting, if you choose ones that are giving you gold, if the gear isn't an upgrade, you can choose the ones that have gold, and then you have the gold bonus. When you add all of this together with the class hall missions that you're doing, it adds up to more than enough over the course of a month to pay for a token, and the amount of time spent is minimal. It really doesn't take long at all. In fact, the class hall quests, you can use your app on your phone to run those if you want to. When you're not, I know you've done that. And, and I've done it. I've done it actually. When I was home, and I could go in game and do it just because I didn't want to run my character back to the class hall from where he was.
I've wiped out my class hall resources on one of my tunes at work and gone
Well, I certainly don't recommend that you do that. But let's face it. Now that you can trade in Blood of Sargeras for Order Hall resources. That shouldn't really be that much of an issue anymore. And if you're going out and you're doing world quests, hit a few that are going to give you some resources, like the one that I did today that you wanted me to check out gave 1,000 resources right there. So there's no reason.
My nose in it, yeah.
It seemed pretty easy. I got a cloak that was 865. I got 1,000 Order Hall resources. I don't know what the hell happened to you. It seemed to work fine for me.
3 different characters that glitched on me.
Yeah, I'm going to go with operator error on that one.
No, I did it multiple times. I'm going to try it again when we get done podcasting tonight, and I'll try it once more.
Well, but getting back to the gold making on this here. You never have to do just the minimum either. I mean, when you pop in and you do these emissary quests, or if you're behind a couple days, maybe you're like me and you have 2 or 3 of them that are up, because you're not zeroing these out every day.
Slacker.
What's that?
Slacker,
yeah. So, you've got world quests coming up all the time that you can run. And when you know that you're getting, if you think about it this way, if you think, hey, if I can be disciplined to do 10 of these per day, I'm going to be doing really well. Just from the bonus alone, you're going to be doing really well at the end of the month. And so, it's for me doing that, you're talking about $30K a month, just from the bonus of the gear on your champion that's going along for the ride with you. That's not counting anything else. Right. So there's no reason why you can't just very easily cover the cost of a token. And I'm going to be really into buying the tokens when they make the change for being able to buy things in the Blizzard store. As it is now, I have bought a couple of tokens in the time that they've been available. I haven't bought very many. And when I did buy them, it was for recruit a friend accounts in order to extend the time period of the account so that I would get the recruit a friend mounts. That's what I used them for. So I actually used them to use gold to buy recruiter friend mounts. Right. It was the end result. And I don't mind doing that at all. And there are a lot of mounts that are purchasable mounts in the Blizz store that a lot of people are like me and they don't want to paying that real money for those mounts. But if they can do it with gold, if they've got another reason to make gold and something to spend it on, they're going to be right there.
And as I mentioned last week, the realm transfer.
Yeah, and somehow that slid right past me when you said that. It's so funny because I had mentioned to Mac after the show was over, I said, what I neglected to say, I neglected to tell people that when that change happens, realm transfer is one of those things you can buy, in the Blizz store. And you can take advantage of that too, and move some characters off a realm you don't want them on anymore. And he said, well, I did say that. I'm almost positive I said that. I'm going to go check. And I know I said that. And I said,
you're treating me like your wife. You're not listening half the time.
Well, but the thing is, I didn't say it. So I can't be sure that anybody listened.
Oh, boy.
Oh, did you really just compare yourself to my wife?
No, I wouldn't do that. just the fact that you listen to me about the same.
No, feel free to make jokes. She doesn't listen, man.
I know.
You say whatever you want. She's upstairs asleep right now. She doesn't know what we're saying now, and she'll never listen to the show. So, I mean, I can't get this woman to watch Breaking Bad. How am I going to get her to listen to our podcast?
Mrs. Mack listens every week.
She does, and we behave, and we don't say anything really rotten until after we're done recording. So, one of these days, I do save all those clips.
You are so full of it.
I don't think you really like the fact that I have the power of the editing tools, and I can impose an editing penalty anytime I want. Like, for instance, I could decide that right now at this point in the podcast that for the next 2 minutes I'm going to make you sound like Alvin and the Chipmunks. I could do that.
Just remember, I have control of the Facebook page.
Yeah, this is true. Anything you wanted to add to that before I move on as far as making gold in that way?
No, besides that, you've got the Pilgrim's Bounty coming up next week for people who like to bake. Can be able to trade skill the baking and make the items for those quests to sell them in the auction house. I know people have made a lot of gold in that. If you're a mage and you want to teleport people around from city to city, event to event, that's it's not a huge gold. I mean, there's better ways to make gold, but if you
Yeah, so that's now I haven't really participated in that much, but the gold making from the Thanksgiving thing, is that mostly cooking? You said it's mostly.
It's mostly cooking. The first one is the spice. You sell the spice bread. There's all these different events for making different items in baking. For somebody who doesn't have any baking skill, I know you can get your baking up to like 400. Doing these skills. I personally have not done it. I haven't done I don't do a lot of the holiday quests. I still don't have any of my achievements for the Dark Moon Fair, even though I made a bunch of gold with this Dark Moon Daggermaw fish. But we know some people have made some decent gold selling these items in the auction house. Go to Wildhead, take a look at the Pilgrim's Bounty quest guide. They'll be able to tell you the things you can make and can't make.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to end the Alvin and the Chipmunks penalty about this point in the podcast because I don't think people will be able to take it much longer than that. I am gonna do it. You know that, right? So, what a lot of people don't know is I learned how to do a few new things on Audacity that I didn't know how to do before. By necessity, I had to learn last week. It seems that Mac had a little bit of an audio glitch. The way that we record our podcast, we each record our audio separately, and then I edit them together afterward. And for some reason, his audio was slowed way down. And we have no idea why it recorded that way. Some kind of a lag situation or something. I don't know.
I was talking like this.
Yeah. It was horrible, and we thought we'd lost the whole podcast. And we were looking at that and thinking, "Oh God, that happened!" And I'm getting ready to go on vacation. We're going to be without a podcast for a while if we don't fix this. And I was able to figure out how to speed him up enough to make it sound normal, but it took a long time to edit that, and by the time I was done, I I learned how to make him sound like Alvin from Alvin and the Chipmunks. And I made a mental note that I'm going to have to try that out. You know, so.
Some people should not learn certain things.
Well, you know what it is. I'm trying to get out of the editing chores. And if there's one thing that I've learned with my wife, it's the kiss of death. Anybody that's married, any of you guys out there that's married, or anybody that's thinking about getting married, here's a great thing to know in advance going in. When you do something for your wife and she says the words, "Wow, you're really good at that," you screwed up. Okay? Because you're going to have to do that from now on. My wife can't. What's that?
I thought you were going to go to a Sam Kinison routine.
No. My wife, not if we want to keep our rating. My wife can't make a bed to save her life. Okay, she can't load a dishwasher. She'll get like 3 plates in a dishwasher, all turned a different direction, and it'll be full. And don't even think about if you're moving. You know, need her to help you move and helping pack a truck. No way. So you know, I made the mistake of showing that I did know how to do those things, and now you know that's permanently on the honey-do list. You know, every time.
I think she learned the lesson earlier than you did.
Yeah, well, rule number 1: make sure you suck at some things that you don't want to do. Make it so that they do not want you to do that. And so I'm going to have to really suck at editing so I can get out of it. I think. Because it's the part that I do not enjoy. So. Oh boy! So to recap again, you want to have your champion with you that has the two pieces of gear that will give you the added gold, and there are more than these 2 items that give you bonus gold and bonus resources. These are just the ones that I have. So, you know, collect up the ones that you can get. And if they're the minor ones that only give like 15 gold or 25 gold or what have you. And what I did was until I got the better ones, I did that. And I got the really good ones actually from class hall missions. So watch for those to become available. If you run short on order hall resources like I do all the time, where you run out and then you have to run out and get some more every time you turn around, make sure you run the most important ones first, the ones that are going to give you this gear and the gold and things like that you're going to want.
Blood of Sargeras.
Yeah. So I think that's going to about wrap up that part of it. Another thing I wanted to say, though, before we go, we're actually kicking around a few different ideas for the show. We mentioned in a previous podcast about how we're looking at wanting to start doing some interviews with some content creators that mostly gold making content creators, both on YouTube and even podcasters and so forth. We've gotten a lot of great suggestions from you. Please keep sending them, and eventually somebody will suggest somebody that will agree to come on our show. No, I'm kidding. We've already had some good suggestions that people were probably going to have on, and we're working on a couple of those, the logistics of it right now. But in addition to that, we've talked about how we want to do a gold making challenge. And the way the gold making challenge would work is we would identify a server, a realm that Mac and I neither one have a character on at all. And we would set up some rules like that you can't make a demon hunter, or you can't transfer gold in any way, including using battle pets or sell battle pets that are already in your inventory. We'll have some pretty strict rules about it because we really want to start from nothing. And we're gonna come up with the rules of the challenge, and we're gonna make new characters, and we're going to update people on how much gold we've made starting from nothing. Because let's face it, some people have to do that. They can't go in. They don't have the advantages that we have of having established characters we go to a new realm, we can get some startup cash real easy. Not everybody can do that. So we're going to do a challenge. We're still working out the logistics of it, but we're going to do a challenge, and we're going to open it up to everybody. So, kind of a for fun, on your honor system. Nobody's going to be following you around, making sure you don't break the rules. It's, there's no prize to win or anything like that. So, just bragging rights is it. And so we'll keep you updated on that when we decide what we're going to do. My plan when we do that is to spend no more than maybe an hour or two tops per week on this new character on a new realm. That doesn't mean that Mac can't spend more time or less time if he wants, or anybody else that wants to do it, because the challenge is going to be, what you did with the amount of time that you spent. So if you spent, half an hour and you made, more money than more gold than somebody, made in an hour, you won, obviously. So there's that idea. We also want to have, and we're going to announce this challenge here in this show, and that's that we're going to have our December 1st / December 2nd episode, which my birthday episode.
There we go.
And we want people to make suggestions for what they want the topic to be, and we're going to choose somebody. So I'm going to choose a topic that somebody out there recommends. We are not going to pick the topic, but we're going to pick from the ones that are suggested to us, and we're going to go completely with what someone out there suggests, and that will be that show. So that's what the plan is right now.
Feel free to send us in a voice submission if you want. We'll take those.
Absolutely. Any way that you want to put that out. And while it sounds like that we're just, being really cool by letting you pick out the show, what we're actually doing is taking a little bit of the pressure off of ourselves coming up with shows. So it's purely selfish now. So anyway, we're scamming you. We're definitely scamming you by getting you to do some of our work for us. But that's part of gold making, finding somebody else to do the grunt work, and you go into the bank afterwards. That's what it's all about, right?
Yeah.
So, well, I think that's going to about wrap up this week's show. Why don't we tell everybody how they can get in contact with us?
Well, you can contact us at Mac, that's MAC, at GoblinGoldcast.com, or you can contact us on Twitter at Goblin Goldcast, or you can visit us on Facebook.
And don't forget, you can leave us a voicemail on our website, GoblinGoldcast.com, and please subscribe to us on iTunes or Stitcher if you listen to us there.
And we'll see you next week.
Now go make some gold.
I need both hands for my weapon.